Tuesday night, April 9th, 2019, Pre-Pesah class at Ahaba. I decided to look at a statement in the Haggadah that basically comes towards the end of the Magid section when everybody's already, okay, we have another page to go, let's wrap it up, let's drink that second cup of wine, and let's finish the night. And really, it's one of the most important things in the Haggadah, in my opinion, and it really gives the meaning to the evening, and without it, everything's lost. So we have a statement by Rabban Gamliel. Rabban Gamliel, there's a difference of opinion of which Rabban Gamliel he was, if he was the Rabban Gamliel who was alive during the Beit HaMikdash, or the Rabban Gamliel who is his grandson, who was after the Hurban. And there are proofs for both positions. So we're not going to really touch that for the moment. In the Haggadah it says, Rabban Gamliel haya omer, כל מי שלא אמר שלושה דברים אלו בפסח לא יעשה ידי חובתו ואלוהן פסח מסע ומרור. And everybody thinks you just have to say these three magical words and you're done. Okay? And everybody calls, you're in the kitchen, come from the kitchen, come say these Pesach Massa Umaror. Everybody goes, yeah, Pesach Massa Umaror. Everybody screams it out. And okay, make sure you said it, you said it, yeah, okay. And everybody feels it good and they've done their obligation. So, that's a fallacy, obviously. And I thought it was just, in our homes today that we see that. I opened up Kete Shem Tov, Bisham Tov Gagin, says the same thing. I don't understand. Growing up, everybody used to say, come make sure you say this, So it doesn't really mean that at all. So first we need to realize that this statement is part of a Mishnah. Okay? Mishnayot, Masechet Pesachim, Perek Yod, Mishnah He. And we'll look at the Mishnah, we have it on the second page. We'll get to it. We have to see if there's a connection between the beginning of the Mishnah and the end of the Mishnah. That's number one. We have to look at the words Pesach, Massa, Umaror. We have to look at Rabban Gamliel's explanations. We have to look at the Mizvah stemming from all this. And we have to realize why Rabban Gamliel made such a statement. Okay? Could it have been a polemical statement? Alright? Or it could have been a takana. So we're going to try to answer all those questions tonight. So understanding the Mishnah is crucial. Knowing it in context, the rest of the Mishnayot and the Perek, as well as seeing a comparison of the printed text and old manuscript. So let's look at the second page for a second. If we look at the second page, we have the Mishnah as we know it, now printed form, and we have side by side with it from Ketav Yad Kaufman, okay, a famous manuscript of the Mishnah. And you'll see there are differences, especially straight in the middle. First, let's look at the top. Rabban Gamliel printed says Haya Omer. Rabban Gamliel Omer in the manuscript. So that's where the main gist of which Rabban Gamliel was it. If it was Omer, we used to say it when you had the Beit HaMikdash. Haya Omer, he used to say, could be a different way. No, it could be the other way around too. Haya Omer when there was a Beit HaMikdash, or it could be Haya Omer in the name of his grandfather, who taught it to him. Okay. Again, there's differences of opinion, but that's not really going to play any major role over here. Okay, in our Haggadah we say Kol Mishlo Amar. In the Mishnah it's Kol Shelo Amar. Shelosha Devrim Elu BePesach. Lo Yasa Yedei Chovato, Lo Yasa Yedei Chovato, same thing. VeEluhen Pesach Massa Umaror. In the manuscript it doesn't say Pesach Massa Umaror. It says Pesach Massa Umrorim, and we'll explain that as well. Then it gives the explanations. Each one. Pesach because of this. In the printed version, Pesach because of this, Massa because of this, Maror because of this. In the manuscript, first it explains Pesach. It's called the Kaufman manuscript because that's the person who owned this ancient manuscript. Okay? So it's not that it goes way back, way before printing existed, okay? But it compares to a lot of. We have many other manuscripts of the Mishnayot, and for the most part they're the same. The Kaufman manuscript is considered the most complete, though. So, if you look at the Kaufman manuscript, it shows you Pesach explanation first, then the Maror explanation, and then the Massa explanation, which is different than what we have. So, because of this reason, some people say that these parts of the Mishnah are not connected to each other, and they originally may have been two different Mishnayot, or they may have been written by different people. Okay? Because if Rabban Gamliel is telling you Pesach, Massa, Umaror, okay, and our printed version now says Pesach, Massa, Umaror for the explanation in that order, why is the manuscript telling you Pesach, Merurim, and Massa in that order? What's going on? In our printed version, we have a whole section that we have in our Haggadah. If you look at the first page, item number 5, we have the Bechol Dor Vador Hayabada, etc. Manuscript doesn't have it. And then if we go back, we say the Lefichach, which we have is our Haggadah, item number 6. And then the ending changes a little bit, but for the most part, that's not a major issue. So these are all different things we want to keep in mind as we study the Mishnah and understand what Rabban Gamliel is trying to tell us. Okay? But realize that Bechol Dor Vador section, in every generation section, is missing in the manuscript, and it's something that seems to have come in later on, and it was something that was added to our Haggadot. Because of that, you're saying wow, but it makes a big difference.
Who added it?
We're gonna get to
We don't know. We're not really sure who added it. It seems that it's something ancient. Okay, it could have been the generation after the Mishnah. Before the Gemara, it was added in. But the key is over here. If you look now, look at the printed version. Okay, we're reading Pesach al shum shepasach hamakom al batei avotim Misraim. The reason for Pesach. Then Massa for this reason. And Maror for this reason. And then it says, Bechol Dor Vador Hayab Adam Lir'ot et Asmo. Our Haggadol Lehar'ot. Okay, Lir'ot et Asmo Ki Illu Hu Yasam Misraim. In every generation, a person is obligated to show himself as if he is leaving Egypt. Shenei V'Yigatal B'Ncha V'Yomahu Lemor Ba'avozeh Asa L'Ored Misraim. And then it tells you, Lefichach Anachnu Hayabim. Therefore, we are obligated to praise Borei Olam. So, in other words, according to our printed Mishnah, why are we obligated to praise Borei Olam? Because why? Because of Bechol Dor Vador. Because we're alive today. Because we're alive today, and we're still holding on to our tradition, and we're still able to pass it down to the next generation. But if you look at the manuscript,
that's where Lefichach comes in.
Lefichach is here in the Mishnah.
No, I'm saying the praise.
The praise.
Well, the other one, it says a different reason.
Right. So now, according to the manuscript, we don't have the Bechol Dor Vador, so we end up why? All right. Pesach al shum shepasach, Merurim al shem shemariru, Massa al shem shenig'alu b'Misraim, Lefichach ana hayabim. So according to the manuscript Mishnah, we have to praise God because we were redeemed from Egypt. So two different reasons now for the Lefichach. Which one is correct? Which one is incorrect? What is the real reason that we have to pray God? What does the Lefichach refer to? Does the Lefichach really refer to that verb? Yes. Okay, but we're not singing now.
No, I'm just like going back to Lefichach.
I'm good so far.
Yeah, I'm with
Doc,
you.
you're with me?
Of course.
Okay. And I'm sure you have something to interject over here. So they both say Pesach, Massa, Umaror, different explanations possibly, and possibly not all from Rabban Gamliel, as we said, and possibly explanations could be from the time of the Galut, and that's what we're going to look at now. So if we look at Pesach, Massa, Umaror on the printed version, right, it would seem that he's putting it in the order Pesach, Massa, Umaror, and there's going to be explanation Maror, all right, because he wants to leave that bitterness feeling with you because they're in a time of Galut, whereas the older version of Mishnah could have been from when they were still not in a Galut sense, but they were still in Eretz Israel, still with the Beit HaMikdash, and they're ending up with Massa, okay? And they're ending up on a high note of Massa al Shem Shenigalu Misraim, as opposed to the printed, all right, Baro Hashem Ariru Hayim. So again, two different things over here. So as we said, the manuscript teaches that the Lefichach section is not contingent upon Bechol Dor Vador, rather it's connected to the beginning. And the order is different because of that. Pesach, Merurim, Massa, Al Shem, Shenig'alu b'Misraim. And so we must praise Hashem. Because we were redeemed from Misraim, or in Egypt rather, Misraim, we have to praise Borei Olam. Now this Pesach Massa Umarorim, as opposed to Pesach Massa Umaror, why Umarorim? The Pasuk. Pasuk in Shemot, okay? Esh Umasot Al Merorim Yocheluhu. So the Mishnah follows the Torah. Torah Shebichta, Torah Sheba'al Peh is following the teaching of Torah Shebichta. It's a continuation. Torah Shebichta, Torah Sheba'al Peh must work hand in hand. They are not removed from one another, which is a very important fact that people don't keep in mind. So that's why Merorim is used, to be like the Pasuk, and that's why this order in the manuscript to be like the Pasuk. And this explanation helps it to flow better into the Fichach. Now, if this Mishnah, Torah Sheba'al Peh, is connected to Pasuk, Torah Shebichtab, what about the rest of the Mishnayot in the Perek? How do they fit in? Do they fit in? So that's what you have on the bottom of that second page. If you look at the Mishnayot, okay, and it's in very small print, I know, I just wanted to fit on all one page for you. Before we look at it, that same Perek from Shemot, Perek Yud Bet, where we said, Esh Umasot Al Merorim Yocheluhu, we also have later on in the Perek, we have three key Pisukim. Pisukim that are the entire core of what we're doing. It says, V'haya kitabo el ha'aretz, asher yitel al ma'ad lachem k'asher diber. Ushmartem et ha'avodah hazot, v'haya ki yomeru aleichem benechem, ma ha'avodah hazot lachem, v'amartem zebach pesach hu l'Adonai, asher pasach ad bateh b'nei Yisrael b'Mitzrayim b'rochpo et Mitzrayim, ואת בתינו הסיר, ויקוד העם, וישתחוו. Okay? So, three Pesukim, they're telling us when we come to the land, that's when we're going to start keeping Pesach. And that's where everything's going to come into play now. You're going to do the Abodah, the children are going to ask, you're going to respond to them, and ויקוד העם וישתחוו. So what do we have going on over here first? We have Ushmartem et ha'avodah hazot. Okay, in other words, you have to observe this avodah. In other words, you have to do the avodah of the Qurban. That's number one. Number two, v'haya ki yomeru alechem benechem. Your children are going to ask you, what's going on? Ma ha'avodah hazot lachem. Why are you doing this? What is this avodah? Why do we need it? Third part, v'amartem zebach pesach hu l'Adonai asher pasach. You're going to explain to them. You're going to answer their question and explain to them, this is what we're doing, that Borei Olam, and it's in remembrance of Borei Olam passing over the homes of Bnei Yisrael in Mitzrayim while he killed them. And finally, Vayikot ha'am vayishtahavu. The people praised Borei Olam. Okay? Now how do we know this means praise Borei Olam? That we have the Mechilta. The Mechilta is the Midrashic explanation on Sefer Shemot, and it tells us that anytime anybody hears about the miracles of Yetziat Mitzrayim, specifically of Yetziat Mitzrayim, you must praise God. You have an obligation to praise God. That's how important the miracles of Yetziat Mitzrayim are. Now, if you think about it, in Parashat Yitro, Yitro comes to Moshe, comes to meet him in the desert. What happens? Yitro asks him, what's going on? What happened? This, that, whatever. And Moshe tells him the story, and right away, what does Yitro do? Yitro praises God. He hears the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim, and he praises Borei Olam. So we have the Torah explaining itself, and the Torah explaining the Mechilta, going hand in hand. Okay, Yitro matches up with this part of Shemot over here, okay, and vice versa. So we see these three Pesukim have four steps: doing the Abodah, children asking, explanation, and praise. Right? Now let's look at the Mishnayot. What do we have going on in the Mishnayot? The Mishnayot are basically, this is the last Perek, right? Last Perek of Masechet Pesachim,
Perek Yud.
Right. And this is basically telling us, what do we do on Pesach? What do we do the night of Pesach? So, the first Mishnah opens up for us, letting us know that we don't do anything until the nighttime. And the second Mishnah tells us, okay, first cup of wine, and then we get now to the third Mishnah. And the third Mishnah is about the actions, right? הביאו לפניו מטבל בחזרת עד שמגיע לפרפר את הפת. הביאו לפניו מסע וחזר וחרוס ושני תבשילים, אף על פי שאין חרוסת מזבח, רבי אליעזר ורבי צדוק אומר מזבח. במקדש היו מביאים לפניו גופו של פסח. So it's telling us we don't have the Pesach today. We're doing all these other foods and actions to represent, symbolize Pesach, if you will. But if the Beit HaMikdash was around, and in the days that it was, they did the Avodah. So Mishnah Gimel is talking about the Avodah. Mishnah Dalet, pour the second cup, and the son asks. Huh? There you go, asks. So we said the second step is you're going to do the Avodah. The child is going to ask. Okay, and then what comes next? What comes next? You have Rabban Gamliel, the next Mishnah, which is the answer. So what's the answer to Manishtanah? Manishtanah answer is Rabban Gamliel. Okay, Rabban Gamliel is coming to summarize everything going on. Not that everything that we read from Aradim Hayim until that point doesn't answer, but the essence of the answer, as we see it in the Mishnah, and as it makes sense to us now looking at it all together, is Rabban Gamliel.
He's breaking it out, breaking it down.
He's giving you the core, he's giving you the essence, he's giving you the foundation.
So basically, answers to the Manishtanah in a sense.
Exactly, but we'll look at it in a second. So, first, if we look at Manishtanah in the Mishnah, okay, we're looking at Mishnah Dalet, right? Manishtanah لا يلزم يكون هذا يقول هذول أنو أخلين حامس ومسا هلا هذا كله مسا. All right, remember. Rabban Gamliel is talking about Pesach, Massa, Umaror. So that's number one. Number two, they asking over there about She'ar Yirakot, V'ala Lazim Maror, is Maror. Number three in the Mishnah, Shvachadot and Ochlin Basar Salih, Shaluk Mbushah, V'ala Zekulo Salih. Okay, on any night we eat meat roasted and boiled and poached, whatever have you. But tonight it's only roasted. That's the Pesach. Rabban Gamliel doesn't deal with it directly, but we can tie that in with the Maror part, because let's say the Maror is being there. Okay? So Rabban Gamliel is answering with his Pesach Massa Maror also all the questions of the Manishtanah. Now you get back to Rabban Gamliel. Rabban Gamliel היה אומר, כל שלא אמר שלושה דברים אלו בפסח לא יעשה ידי חובתו, אלו הן פסח מסע מרור. So, what is
the wrong? The order is mixed up.
What do you mean, mixed up?
Pesach.
Meaning as far as the questions?
Matzah, Maror, Pesach.
Okay, as far as the questions, but we said he wants to follow the Pasuk. Okay?
Pesach Massa Umaror is following the Pasuk.
The Pasuk. Right.
This is not the Mishnah.
No.
Right.
Okay, this part of the Mishnah, where it says Pesach Massa Maror, follows the Pasuk of Sedi Oyesh Umasot Al Merurim Yochilu. So, once again, and then how does the Mishnah of Rabban Gamliel end? Leficha. And Hayim Hodot Lehalel Shabbat Refael, that's the praise that we talked about. So go back to the Pesukim of, what do you call that we read of this Perek Yud Bet. We said Ushmartem et Avodah Zod ve'hiya kiyumaru alechem ve'amartem zebach Pesach Adonai ve'yikod ha'am ve'yishtahavu. Okay, all these things work in exactly with the order of the Mishnayot that we're reading over here. So Torah Shebechtab explain, and now thing is though, Torah Shebechtab only explains Pesach, as we said, right? Ve'amartem, right? What do you tell the kid? Zebach Pesach hu l'Adonai asher pasach al batei b'nei Yisrael Mitzrayim v'nochpo et Mitzrayim et batin husil. The Pesukim of the Torah do not explain in this section anything about Massa Umaror. So this is part of the Hiddush of Rabban Gamliel, that I could have just stopped at Pesach, but no, this is the Hiddush of Rabban Gamliel, something that he's adding that was, to us, okay, we don't think about it, but at his time was considered novel, something new, something intriguing. That's his Hiddush, okay? Rabban Gamliel specifically adds explanations for Massa and Maror. And it's the Hiddush and the Avodah is not just the Pesach, but the items that accompany it as well. As per the earlier pasuk that we said, therefore, again, the order and the word mirurim. So the halba now is not just to say the three words, but the explanations as well. Okay, and this is basically the essence of telling over the story of Yisrael Mitzrayim. This is v'higatal bincha. Yeah, let's say you had, God knows what was going on in your life, and you had no time at all. Here you go, one page. You could summarize the entire mitzvah of v'higatal bincha. Well, this is really what it is. This is what it entails. You say the three things, but saying doesn't just mean saying; it means explanation. And if you think about it, the Bangalore used to say, "Kol mi shelo amar." The pasuk says, "Va'amartem zebach Pesach," right? The pasuk says, "Va'amartem zebach Pesach." You have to tell them "Va'amartem." So the Bangalore is using the same lashon of amar, not instead of v'higata or the hagid, he's using the lashon of amar. So Pesach shayu avotinu ochlim explains. Massa Shanachnu Ochlim al Shumma, he explains. Maroze Shanachnu Ochlim al Shumma, he explains. And then the Bechudor Vador section that we said appears in our printed versions, but not in the ancient or older manuscript versions. And then the Lefichach that everybody agrees to. So this is the essence of what we're talking about. Now, we said, Kol Shelo Amar Shelosha Devarim Ilu Pesach Lo Yasa Yedeh Hobato. Right? What Ahaba? Is that the Ahaba?
חייבים להודות לפסח מסע ומרור.
Well, what Ahaba? Maybe the Ahaba.
Just to say it.
But maybe the Ahaba is to eat the Korban Pesach. So if you only said it and you didn't eat the Korban, you're good?
Of course not.
Okay. So how could he say if you only say,
what does it mean by Amar? What's the definition of Amar?
Say. Well,
just
say
it.
It means to explain. It doesn't just mean just saying the words. It means explaining.
Explain it.
So that the explanation is what comes up.
For the pasuk that's in the Mishnah.
Yes.
Finish. No, read the
No,
pasuk
read
that's in the Shema. V'higadata lebencha bayom lemor. That's the sholosh Amar.
That's what I mentioned.
Am lo amar lebanav.
Mm-hmm. So this is a mahloket between many Rishonim. You have, in a nutshell, we'll just take Rashi on one side and Rambam on the other side. Okay? Yeah. Rashi versus Rambam. Okay? Or you want to say the Ramban versus the Me'iri. The Me'iri is with the Rambam and the Ramban is with Rashi. Two different schools of thought. Okay? So if you ate and didn't say it, what's the problem? I ate the Pesach. You're going to obligate me to say something? I'm here. I'm eating the Korban Pesach. I know what's going on, obviously. But you didn't say. That's the Rashi Ramban school of thought. Then you have the Ramban school. If you didn't say, how could you fulfill the mitzvah of Hikatah? You didn't do it. So now let's go back to the first school of thought. We'll call it the Rashi school of thought. Okay? Because everybody thinks that all the rabbis are always together, but they're not always together. They have different opinions. And it's not always that one is right and one is wrong. You have different ways of viewing things. It's for what? The Korban is to remember the miracles, okay? And that Hashem freed us. And it also symbolizes the selflessness that they were willing to slaughter the Egyptian god, because for this is what the Egyptians were worshipping, and they went ahead and killed it. They didn't know what would happen to them right away. And it also testifies to the unity of God, our God. Borei Olam. Because there were those that wanted to say, look, God is all evil, or God is all good. See, he could only do makot and kill people. He can't do anything good. Okay, let me show you. I'm going to show you how I can differentiate from house to house and person to person, and shows that Borei Olam is one, in good and evil. He could do it all at the same time. So it came to show the ahdut of Borei Olam. Okay, makat bechorot, like we said. Now we must eat the korban. So if we must eat the korban, right? You have a hayub to eat korban pesach. So why say the words? Because according to Sefer Hinuch, you have to verbalize. Verbalizing awakens the heart. It wakes you up to start thinking and being grateful and thanking and and praising and wanting to connect more. It's a very important thing. Also, mizvot sherichot kavana. All right, and if the Torah tells us you have to think about it, okay, we can't just think. We have to think, and again, anytime you do something, you have to verbalize because that's part of way of performing the mitzvah. All right. In other words, before you do any mitzvah, you don't just do a mitzvah. You have to actually get yourself into that mode of doing it. You just can you eat a piece of meat? You know, so you're making beracha. Making beracha involves a thinking process. Something's going on. We don't work like robots. Tell me what you're thinking.
It's very
and
powerful.
David's thinking something. I want to hear. I want the input.
Yeah.
If you agree, disagree, I don't mind.
It's not a matter of disagreement. There are other parts to the mitzvah ta'aseh,
Yes.
that have to be included, and the mitzvah ta'aseh includes the discussion as to what led to Yetziat Mitzrayim, and that's why the pasuk is there, and that's why in the Mishnah it follows because V'gadata lebencha, what was done? Pesach, and then there was Massa. The manuscript of Ketav Yad Koifman says Umarorim. Marorim is not maror.
No.
Marorim,
Right.
it's marut hayihim. Marirut hayihim. It's talking about embitteredness, and that's
after the
one thing.
after the Massa.
I'm sorry.
After the Massa.
So
they were bitter the whole time. You said.
The order that we have it is not as we see it in the Haggadah.
Right.
The order of the Rishonim describing what the mitzvah is like the manuscript. The Rambam's order is
Like the
Pesach,
manuscript.
Maror, and then Matzah. In his Ketav of the Halakha.
Right. I'm going to get to that.
Yeah, I know. So you should have asked me.
Because I like to hear what you have to say.
My pleasure.
Okay? I think everybody enjoys it. Okay, so now we looked overall at the outlook of Rashi, Ramban, etc. Now let's look at Rambam and Meiri and the others. So we have to say it. Why do we have to say it? Because we need to pass it on to future generations. Because not only did Borei Olam create the world, it's here to teach us that he's actively involved in running it on a daily basis. And that's something that we have to keep thinking about, and we must keep telling. That's part of the Higatat. See, Pesach, Massa, and Maror can be looked at as different aspects within our lives and in the way Borei Olam dealt with the situation at hand. The Pesach shows us, teaches us, Hashgaha Piratit, that Borei Olam is involved in each one of our lives. The way he went from house to house to house to house. Okay, he was actively involved, and he's still actively involved. The Massa is there for middah keneged middah. They fed us Massa so we could eat quickly and return to our work quickly. And in the end, what happened? They couldn't throw us out fast enough. They couldn't throw us out of Egypt fast enough. And they were pushing us out, and therefore we couldn't even bake, bread. We just had to leave and let it turn into Massa. Maror, they embittered us. So God said, "Okay, you want to embitter my nation? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to embitter you with the Asr Makot." So everything has a parallel, but it's all to show us that Hashem is involved. God is absolutely in control, but he's not just in control, someplace just hanging out and doing nothing. Okay, general public I'm dealing with. No, I'm dealing with each one of you as individuals. It's a 24/7 job, doesn't end. Another reason Hashem commanded us to tell our sons, because the purpose of taking us out of Egypt was why? To serve Him. So we left the Abdut of Par'ah to become Abadim to Melech Melechim. Okay, we went from one servitude to the servitude. Okay, so by saying Pesach Massa Maror, we think about that. The Maror, the slavery which was bitter. The Pesach, Borei Olam saved us. The Masot, He redeemed us. The Massa didn't have time to become Hamas. The Pasuk tells you over here, when we read about the Massa is a key factor in the way we look at Geulah. Okay, the Geulah, the Massa is what rushed us out of Egypt, and God is what helped pull us out at the same time. It's something that people don't think about. Everybody thinks about Massa, lehem auni, lehem auni, lehem auni, but really, it's lehem Geulah. That's what the Massa is. It is the number one thing that we're striving for. Okay, we're getting away from a different point of view, not connected with Rashi or the Rambam now, with what they talk about the haughtiness of the Hamas or whatever. Okay, you're doing it to make us realize who we are and what our purpose is. You know, and that's something that we have with the Massa. Yeah, you may think of it as unleavened, but it has a reason. But it's symbolic and very, very deep. But now, if we look again at the Mishnah, okay, and at the Rabban Gamliel, okay, and at the Haggadah, look at Massazu. Each one tells you Al Shem Shnig Alu Me Misraim. Be Misraim, according to the manuscript, they were redeemed in Egypt. They printed Al Shum Shnig Alu Abotinu Me Misraim. They were redeemed from Egypt. The Haggadah Al Shum, then it gives you more. Al Shum Shelo speak Besekam Shel Abotinu Lahmis Ash Nigla Aleihem Me Vachem Elchim Kazavarchu Uch Ala Miyad. So it stretches it out. It elongates it for us. The Rambam, same thing like our Haggadah. So our Haggadah, in this sense, is based upon it. All right, but everything comes back to each other, one by one by one. And therefore, if you go back and you look at the manuscript version of the Mishnah, it tells you Pesach, Massa, Umaror, and then it ends off with the concept of Massa, because the Massa is the highlight. Massa is the highlight. You start off with the Pesach, you need to have the Qurban, otherwise you don't have anything. The Maror is something that we have to remember the bitterness, but the Massa talking about the Geulah. You talk about the Geulah and the Fichach, and Hayim, the Hudol, the Halil, the Shabbih, the Refael, and keep going on and on. And that's what it's all about. So you have Rabban Gamliel is summarizing all the concepts for you. He's giving you the explanations. You see in the Mishnah, it's very, very brief. He explains each one of these things, Pesach, Massa, Umaror, briefly, but that's the bare minimum that you have to say. You have to realize the reasons for each one. So you're looking at, for example, Pesach, Ashum Shepasach, what I will have passed over. Massa, Ashum Shnig Alu. Maror, Ashum Shemariru, Misriim. Okay? And in the Haggadah, expands on it a little bit more by giving us a pasuk to show us the proof for each one and the actual source in Torah Shebichtab. Again, Torah Sheba'al Peh, Torah Shebichtab, working hand in hand as they must. Okay, they're not separated from each other. It's not something the rabbis made up, as some people like to say. It's the real thing.
Of course.
Okay, and that's what we have going on over here. Am I missing anything, Acham David? Fill me in now. Now, at this point, now I'm done. I've covered my material. You have to fill me in with your material.
It's not my class.
I gave it to you.
There's only a few
If
minutes
Abe
left.
moves over, that's your seat too.
There we go.
So I think we can add that there are three parts to Rabban Gamliel's command that we include in the Vehigatata Lebencha Bayomahu and the Magid. In addition, that we have to Doresh the Arba Pasukim in Parashat Kitabo that refer to Hava'ata Bikurim and the statement that a person who brings Bikurim to the Beit HaMikdash has to say. The Merorim remind us of what life was like. And one could imagine that Borei Olam Yishtabach Shemo, quote unquote, forgot us in Mitzrayim. But the Matzah proved otherwise. When it was time for the Geulah, Ki'ilu, a Hatan was waiting to ransom out that one, that kala of his that was taken and kidnapped. Ke'arif ha'ayin, the Batsik didn't have a chance to rise. I don't care about food. I want out. I want to be able to take my bride. I want to take my beloved, my betrothed. And the matzah wasn't about waiting. It was about quickly. Because it was Leil Shimurim Hu. Because that night before, when the Geulah was complete, with Paro finally saying, "You're out," Borei Olam said, "Don't wait. I want you to be able to serve me." And the Korban Pesach is the Shabud, as Hacham Yosef said, that is the ultimate response to Borei Olam betrothing us. We are now going to serve him in the way that he wants. So one speaks about the past, one speaks about the immediacy of ending that past, and another brings us to a national identification of our servitude to our betrothed, to our kaviyachol, our husband, forever. We have to remind ourselves of our past. We have to show how Borei Olam, when it was time and it was in his decision that it should be done, nothing else matters. Out quickly. I want you that badly to be close to me, that as if a person can't wait till the tafshil is finished. I can't wait till it's ready. Let's go. Let's get out. I want to be with you, and I want to be muhabbar to you. And then, of course, the command, but really which shouldn't be thought of as a command, although it's a command. Korban Pesach is one of the Taryag mitzvot. There are 16 mitzvot midoraita regarding Korban Pesach. It's about wanting to identify that we're part of this group. Once a year we come together, we serve you to recognize our past and to know that you are our eternal future. And that's one of the important things of Rambam Gamliel's tzivui. And it's a mitzvah that a person is not going to have fulfilled his mitzvah of v'higadat bencha b'yomahu unless he reminds those at the table, and including himself, if he happens to be the only person being misader the Leila Haggadah, even if it's himself, he has to remind himself that it was a past that was terrible, and it was easy to imagine yourself forgotten and left alone in some foreign land. But when the time was right, Borei Olam said, "Enough, quick, out." Otherwise, they ate the matzah the night before. They were told 2 weeks earlier. They were told on the night of the 15th, "I want you to eat matzah." So why did the matzah have to not have a chance? The batzik not have a chance to rise the following day? Because I want you to remember that it was really quick. That's how much I wanted you. Sorry for jumping in, but
no, I liked the way you tied it in to, we'll call it the hatan and the kala coming together. Very, very important, and it helps to explain the minhag of some people to read Shir Shirim at the end of the night. It brings together that entire concept of
the
Bnei Israel being engaged to Borei Olam, and the love between us, and Yili, and how the existence of Am Yisrael cannot exist without Borei Olam. And in the same sense, even though we think of Borei Olam not needing us, every ruler needs a people, okay? For people to, again, we're not, obviously Borei Olam could create a new people, he can do whatever he wants.
Correct.
But in other words, for Borei Olam to be recognized in the world, it's through Am Yisrael.
Of course. Melech HaKadosh.
We're Am Segullah, and we're supposed to be a light to the nations. Hopefully we act properly, and we are that light, and we bring Kiddush Hashem, and not the opposite, but Minnan. But that's very, very important. So that's why I really like what Hakam David mentioned over here. It makes a lot of sense, explaining that minhag that some people have, and it also ties in with the entire idea of Pesach, where we become that nation and we become really connected to Bura Olam, and how because of that love He brings us to Matan Torah. From Matan Torah He takes us to Eretz Israel, and obviously our homeland history, and we're living in a time where we see Nisim Niflaot on a regular basis. Something that our forefathers, as great as they were, they didn't have the opportunity to see. Eretz Israel, Medinat Israel, and the flourishing of the country. This is all part of the Geulah. There's no question about it. And the way Shibi'i Shel Pesach ties in with Yom HaAsma'ut, but that's an entire different class. They tie in so perfectly. It's an unbelievable thing that Kiryat Yam Suf is the same thing of breaking through, the nations and coming to where we belong. It all ties in together. It's a wonderful concept, but people just look at the Haggadah. How many more pages do I have to get through to finish it? You're not finishing it. It's a lifetime.
It's true, brother.
It's a lifetime.
Every
You have
another
to.
thought.
And there's always Hiddushim, but to realize that Manishtana, you're starting with, really, without the Rabban Gamliel section, you have nothing. So you read all these things in between, and each one I can give a class on it. And there's hundreds and hundreds. The Haggadah is the number one book in Jewish history that has millions of Pirushim on it. Well, not millions, but thousands of Pirushim on the Haggadah, more than any other book. Okay? More than on the Chumash, you have Pirushim on the Haggadah.
Asher Kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu. You say every year we go to the Haggadah, and why is it that we spend so much time on the same thing year after year? Because it's so integral, it's so basic to the existence of the Jewish people, Yetziat Mitzrayim. It's the first of the Asher Zechirot that you have to have every day. And for those Asher Kedishanu b'mitzvotav, for those who are wise enough to understand that the basis of our existence is Yetziat Mitzrayim, Asher Kedishanu. However, for those of us who have to be forced into it, Vetzivanu. It's every time the beracha is said, doesn't matter what the beracha is. If it's a mitzvah de Rabbana Doraita Asher Kedishanu b'mitzvotav, person has to understand that the action that they're doing is making them godlike. Asher Kedishanu. Right? But Vesivanu, for those who still haven't integrated into themselves the benefit of the action, the reason for is because you're not there yet. You haven't thought about it. A person what he is doing something for. This Halil Haggadah is so important. Why don't we do it on the daytime? Why? Right. But why? Why? When did we actually leave? Why did? But we didn't leave till midday. We left the following morning, bright and sunny. So let's sit down. Following morning, Purim, we have a big simcha b'shteh during the daytime. They left midday. Midday.
The first day.
The 15th, the day of the 15th.
Yes.
But the pasuk says, "Let shemurim hu Hashem," because it was 400 shana v'shloshim shana, right? 30 shana v'arbaat me'ot shana. Okay, so why we do it at night? Why don't we do it during the day? Why do we eat the korban pesach at night? Because korbanot, for the most part, yes, yom v'layla you have, but for the most part, you imagine that all other korbanot were eaten during the day. Why this one at night? Why this one all together? Bayat achat. You have to be minui on it. You have to be accounted on it. Why is this Korban Pesach, which is really has elements of Korban Yahid? Why is this Korban Pesach? It's elements of Korban Yahid, but it's Dohait Shabbat. Only Korban Tzibur is Dohait Shabbat. Why is it that you have to bring it from your own money, and why do you have to bring it all at one time? If it's Shlamim or a Todah, you can bring it any other day of the year. This one has this time limit.
Very, very specific.
It has elements of both. And you eat it at night. You must eat it at night. You can't eat it during the day.
And
well,
But the Qurban is brought during the day.
Notice-
The
And
Qurban
you eat
is
it.
nishhat and
Right.
nikrav. The emurim are nikrav during the day.
During the day.
But it has to be when you're all together at night.
Of course. Notice also, God forbid someone's sick. He has the opportunity to fulfill it 30 days later. Not for the holiday. You could do that.
It's its own mitzvah.
It's another thing.
It's not a fulfillment. It's its
You
own
follow where
mitzvah.
I'm coming from.
No. I understand. No, but that's
It's-
that's a totally different topic. The
Look,
point, the purpose,
try
the
now.
point
No,
of
I'm not trying.
No, it's very important.
He
So what he's saying
understands.
is important.
It's so important that the Torah brings up an opportunity for people who are tameh to have a what we would incorrectly call a makeup. It's not a makeup. It's an opportunity to do something to show that we're part of a team. And that's the beauty of Korban Pesach. It's one of the reasons why it's one of the two mitzvot aseh. If a person is over, this is bitel actually. It's a mitzvah aseh. Yesh lo karet. You're not showing yourself part of the team. It's so important, Pesach, that the kids have to understand you're showing yourself to be part of the team. Every male has a sign on his body that he's part of the team. Once a year, you come together and you remember Yetziat Mitzrayim in a big way, as opposed to remembering Yetziat Mitzrayim twice a day, as you're supposed to, at least mentioning it. Here, you really go into detail. You know what? You don't have to live on the biggest pizza of chali. Matzah's enough. Even if it was tough, you should know we're the only religion that has the concept that no matter what my condition of my life conditions are, I still serve you. Korban Pesach, I still serve you. If it's maror or it's matok in my life at this point, I still serve you. Most other people think religion is about the religion serving me, as opposed to me serving the Creator who gave me this religion, and that's so integral, and that's why we come back and repeat it time and again. It's so, if you were a farmer, every year you go out and till the same soil. You'd weed the same weeds and you'd plant the same plants. Nobody gets upset when they make money because of the bounty that they have at the end of the harvest season. That's a more adult way of looking at it. Asher Kedushen. And by the way, he was looking forward to it from before you were. You thought he forgot you. He was counting down just like the groom. He's got the calendar and he's mixing off the days until he can finally take his bride and marry her. He was waiting for that moment. More than us waiting to be taken out. Because the purpose of creation didn't get activated until he had his nation available and free to do what he wants.